the Extension Agriculture Institute, your connection to the latest agriculture and horticulture research from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Mostly for small-scale vegetable growers, you're not going to have a seed drill. If you do have a seed drill, or maybe you have a neighbor with a seed drill who's willing to come over and seed a cover crop for you, then you can go at a slightly lower rate. Now, two of the tools we're going to demonstrate are direct seeders that are kind of analogous to a drill. One is the earthway seeder and the other is the jang. If you have those already on hand as part of your vegetable operation, you can certainly use them for cover crops. It wouldn't necessarily be worthwhile buying them just for sowing cover crops. This is a drop seeder, so it's not flinging seed out to the side. It's just going to drop it straight down. The width of the hopper is 22 inches, so it's a really nice option for narrow permanent beds, doing 1 or 2 passes on a bed like that. And it's got a nice big hopper, so you can fit quite a lot of seed into it. I've got one of the direct seeders that I'm going to demonstrate today. This is an earthway seeder. So this is something you might have as part of your vegetable operation. You might use this for direct seeding carrots or beets or something like that. And it's got a relatively small hopper, but if you do have those permanent beds or semi-permanent beds and you just want to seed a few rows of cover crop into a bed system, then this can be a nice option to try. If you don't already have one of these, probably it's not something that is worth investing in just for cover crops, but if you already have one on hand, it's worth a try. I'm also going to demonstrate a jang seeder today. This is another direct seeder. The one I have here is the JP3, which has 3 seeding units, so it can seed 3 rows at a time. The jang is a relatively expensive piece of equipment. Again, if you already have one as part of your vegetable operation, it certainly can be adapted to use for cover crops as well. One of the nice things about having the 3 separate hoppers for the jang is that if you want to seed different cover crops in a mix, then you can certainly do that. And today I'm going to seed rye. I'm going to put that into the 2 outer hoppers and put some vetch in the middle hopper. And rye and vetch are a really good combination for a winter cover crop that is going to be winter hardy. This is really designed for seeding lawns, but it works really nicely if you have a semi-permanent or a permanent bed system and you want to seed a cover crop just in those beds. As the wheels turn, these impellers in the bottom keep the seed moving, and you use this handle up at the top to open up the hopper at the bottom. The Earthway is a nice little direct seeder. It's relatively inexpensive, around like $120 to $150. And it has a number of different plates in it that will scoop up the seed from this hopper and drop it out the bottom. And it can be a really nice tool for cover crops if you've got semi-permanent beds or permanent beds and you just want to seed a particular cover crop in along your bed, or you might want to seed a cover crop into your aisles between your beds. Maybe if you want to establish living aisles like white clover and perennial rye or something like that. So you can set the depth that it's going to seed at with this little shoe. You just undo the wing nut here and you can shift the shoe up and down. Right now it's set at 3/4 of an inch. And this chain just drags along behind and covers over where you're seeding. So this is going to open up a little furrow, and this chain dragging behind is just going to cover that up. So that's a nice way of getting some seed to soil contact. It also has a row marker on it that you can just drop that out to the side. And I think I have this set at 12 inches. So that will just mark a row for you to come back on. So you've got nice even spacing. With these plates in the hopper, depending on your cover crop seed, you may find that you have to modify the plate. I'm going to sow some rye, but also some vetch with this. And for the vetch, what we found was that we had to drill out the holes in the radish plate a little bit so they were big enough to fit the vetch seed through. The plates for this are fairly inexpensive, and you can also just get a blank plate and modify it to work with whatever seed you want to use. This is a Jang direct seeder. This particular model is a JP3, so it's got 3 separate hoppers. You can seed different cover crops through here if you want to put in a mix. One nice thing about the Jang, it comes with different shoes that can be set at different heights so that as you're seeding, you're dropping that seed from the hopper down into a little furrow. This is the standard shoe that the Jang comes with, but what I've got on here right now are shoes with double disc openers that just cut a little bit of a furrow and can deal with a little bit more kind of residue, plant residue in the field. At the back of the shoe, this is just going to drag through and cover that seed that you've just planted so you get good seed to soil contact. And also you have a roller at the back. You also have a roller on the earthway that we just talked about, but this is also going to just tamp down the soil a little bit and give you good seed to soil contact. The hoppers can be removed from the Jang, and so you just put your seed in here. There are different size rollers that you can put in for different types of seed, and then it fits back in really nicely. This is a shoe for the Jang that has double disc openers on it. These are going to cut through residue and push it to the side a little bit, so you open up a nicer furrow and you can deal with the situation that you might have at the end of a production cycle at the end of the summer where you've got a bit of plant residue in the ground. So these are nice if you're planting into, not quite so fine of a seed bed. So this is supposed to stand up by itself, but it's a little bit windy today, so I don't trust it. So that's about 20 pounds of seed of this rye. So I'm gonna open up the hopper and start walking. One nice thing when you're broadcasting is to try and not scatter all the seed in one pass, because then if you get it a little bit uneven, you can even it up on the next pass. Yeah, we've had a very dry fall, and we actually put about an inch of water onto this part of the field late last week so that this cover crop has a better chance of getting going. So you want to have the hopper at least half full, and I've got the depth set at 3/4 of an inch. And these are pretty rough conditions for using an earthway, but let's see how it goes. Because the soil is so rough here, I'm noticing that this is really designed for more of a nice, well-prepped seed bed. So it's more that the ground is uneven than anything else that is making it maybe not work quite so well in these conditions. But we'll give it a try. So I'm going to go back and forth across this strip about 6 or 8 times, just overlapping as I go so that I get good coverage. They're just very light raking, doesn't have to disturb very much soil at all. So I'm going to set this to about 1 inch depth. Which I just know from experience is about 18 cranks for this.